Hello. We're going to give everybody a second to roll in, turn on
Okay,
cameras.
hello.
We're just missing
Yes.
one diva. Oh, there she go.
There
Yes.
you go. Yes.
All right. Hey.
Welcome, everyone. Super excited that y'all are here. Feel free
Excuse
to
me.
in the chat. Let us know, what's happening, where you are. Are you living in a snowstorm life? I don't know. And yeah, that's it. I did want to welcome everyone to our LGBTQ plus comic characters panel. We are going to get started with some intros. If you have questions and you don't want to ask them in the chat, you can use the hashtag queer comic characters all together on Twitter, and I'll check the Twitter hashtags. You can also just put your question in the chat so I don't have to leave the platform to see it. So we can talk about it all together. So yeah, welcome. We're going to do a quick check-in, right? So I'm going to have you say your name, your pronouns, and where the first time that you saw yourself, your gender, your sexual orientation, whichever, or both, represented in a comic character. Yep, that's all I have in my notes. All right, so we'll start with DJ Kirkland, and then we'll go in the order of my screen.
Okay. Hi, my name is DJ Kirkland. I'm a professional comic book artist, and I'm based in the Bay Area. My pronouns are he, him, or they, them. Either one is fine. I guess, ironically, I'm wearing the shirt. The first time that I saw anybody that I at all identified with in a cartoon was in Sailor Moon. When I was very, very young, I was very much a crybaby, and all I wanted to do was eat and play video games. So I identified a lot with Usagi back then. I'm more of a Sailor Venus girl today, but Usagi, when I was growing up, was definitely who I identified with the most.
Yes. All right. So we're going to move to the right. So that's Jay.
Hey guys, I'm JayJustice. I'm a cosplayer as well as an editor and consultant for comic books, video games, literature. I'm also an advocate for marginalized people. I do accessibility work to make sure things are accessible and inclusive. And I want to say, my pronouns are she, her, from the Bronx. And I want to say that the first time I saw a character that made me think that, that I felt seen, that felt like it was me, in a digital sense, was Monica Rambeau, the first female Captain Marvel. I was really small and looking at the comic books, and I saw a Black girl on the cover of a comic book, and I was like, what is this? My uncle was like, oh. And the fact that she has a very simple personality to me, where she takes on so much responsibility and she feels so deeply that she needs to help others and do the right thing, and was not afraid to take on leadership, was not afraid to ask the hard questions. Her comic books were so good when I was a kid. And we're going to get into that later. But that was definitely the first time I was like, okay, comic books can be for me because this is who I am.
Word. Excellent. Thank you. Let's go with Michael.
Hello. My name is Michael, Black Gay Comic Geek, and my pronouns are he, him, his. The first time I saw somebody that I identified with, it's funny because both of the people that I ended up identifying with ended up being women, and it ended up being the 90s animated series with Storm. And it was the first time I saw a Black superhero on screen. I even got my little Storm water mug right here, juice mug right here. And she was the first Black superhero I ever saw. And then she was just so dramatic with her speeches. And I'm here for all the drama. Every time she I summon the full power of the wind and the rain. All of that, I was here for all of it. And then in terms of homosexuality representation, I usually, as a Black queer person, always have to find myself choosing between the Black side and the queer side. And so I'm a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan.
Speak on it.
And so the first time I really saw somebody that was LGBTQ was Willow. When she finally came out and her love interest with Tara and all that other stuff, I thought that was really beautiful. So that's the things I ended up connecting with. So yes, that's my experience.
Listen, we're gonna come back to Willow and Tara, okay?
Yes, I could talk about that.
Right, please do.
Let's go with Dax.
Hi, my name is Dax Exclamation Point. My pronouns generally would be she, her, or they, them. I am in the DC metro area. I am a cat. The first time I ever saw someone that I identified with, I mean, like, for me, I've always been a reacher. Like a character that I identify with, it's like I go for the emotional state more than like physicality necessarily. And for me, of course, was Miss Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. I was 7 years old in theaters opening night. She came on screen and I was like, is that me? Am I her? Am I there now? Like, yeah. So Catwoman has been a very strong influence in my life, just in general. My two favorite heroes obviously are Storm, because she's Storm, and Catwoman because she's Catwoman. And I've always said that Storm to me is aspirational, but Selena Kyle is attainable. I'm one good breakdown away from becoming Catwoman. Like at any given moment, I mean, I am one bad hair day away from being like, you know what? I'm gonna blow it up. Like, it's not far off for me. I mean, as far as like yeah, that's just, I mean, that's where I'm at. My cats will agree with me if they were anywhere nearby, but they are not. So, oh well.
Excellent. So I can go next. My name is Ishoke Smith. I use she and her pronouns on the internet. Queerly fantastic. I am from Brooklyn, but I am currently in a car in Puerto Rico because why? When I could leave and live someplace else.
Okay, Cruz.
Do what you do when you can. She's like, you know what? I'm out.
I'm jealous.
Ain't no cons. Ain't no.
Like, I can call you from anywhere.
You know, we love technology.
It has minutes on it. Like, I got to go.
Yeah, I got that unlimited data.
Yeah, it's gonna be anywhere.
Chirp, where you at though?
Yeah. So my pronouns are she, her, and ma'am.
Yes. Shut up.
And I think similarly, the first time I definitely have like these key moments, right? So like there was definitely a Tara and Willow moment, like for sure. Like I distinctly remember being like, oh yeah, wow, something about this speaks to me. Especially Dark Willow was a key moment in my youth. And really Static Shock was another big one. Because I wasn't into comics because my dad was into them, and I was like, anything my dad likes is weird. I would read them, but I couldn't like admit that I liked them. But Static Shock was on TV, right? And he was young, and he had a lot of feelings, and he would like mess up every once in a while, and I was like, oh, that's me. And so that was really the first time that I was like, wow, I could be a superhero. I could do that. So yeah, I really appreciate y'all coming through and giving us the good. The first question that I have for all of you is, what have you learned about your own sort of gender and sexual orientation through your experience with comics, right? Because I think oftentimes we're like, here's why this thing that happened upset me, but we don't talk about where we do feel seen and heard and held and fulfilled. And anyone can start with this one.
Well, in my situation, like, you know, being gay in our community is just that thing that you're not supposed to do. That's not allowed. So I never even let myself think that I could be gay because I have enough problems, like, right? And like I would enjoy like reading like yaoi or yuri. I would enjoy like, you know, looking at like shipping and stuff like that, but it wasn't something that I could personally like let myself believe that I could have. And occasionally I would really want to like portray a queer relationship, and I would think to myself, oh well, it's just cosplay, so it doesn't count. Or like I'm just doing a gender bend while I, you know, lick some girl at Dragon Con. It doesn't count. I'm not really, it's fine. And kind of like getting to play with with presentation and like what gender you wanted to appear as, but like creatively, not like real life, would like kind of let me think, you know, you're really splitting hairs here. Maybe you got to think about who you are and how you identify, because so comic books and like media kind of like influenced my creative output, which then allowed me to kind of like be more honest with who I was as a person. And I think that seeing queer relationships be normalized can help so many young people who are just as confused as I was kind of figure out who they are. And by constantly seeing negative portrayals of being queer, like, oh, you can't be gay, you just gonna die in a fire, that's what happens. Like, so I think that kind of like negatively reinforces those stereotypes of like, we can't be gay because there's only two kinds of gay and one of them is just not here anymore. Like, so I really do think that positive, exactly, Ace Ventura is a good example of like, oh yeah, no, just like demonizing the trans experience and demonizing the queer experience. We need more of the opposite of that. We need more positive representation to help people understand that you don't have to stay in the closet, that it's safe out here. And even though, yes, we know that we are not 100% safe because that's what being a marginalized means, people should still feel safe to exist. And we're trying to build that safety of existence out here. Sorry, I got too real for a minute.
Yeah, I could.
That's fine. No, I mean, like,
Said nothing but a word.
Please.
Yeah, that was a word. Like, I completely, as soon as you started
prosper.
talking, Jay, like I was like, oh, I completely identify with that because, like I mentioned earlier, like I found myself having to choose between Black representation and gay representation, and more times than not, you can't have both. And then, like, even in a lot of, because I'm big on supporting indie comic book creators and things, especially Black indie comic book creators, but even in supporting those, I don't see them creating any Black queer characters. And for me, like, this is a story I always tell because I'm very big on representation. And the reason why it hit me, because I remember once upon a time, going back to my Buffy days, when I was 16 years old, I joined the role-playing site that was all about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And so you create your own characters.
Come on, AOL.
Yes.
Come on, AOL chat room. Come on. Red Dragon.
Yes.
You know I was there too, girl.
Dial up
and everything. Hogging the phone line and everything. And everything. Yes.
Couldn't be
Come on, room, mom.
My mother would have to use the phone.
I gotta call my job.
Yeah, my mother would be like, get off that site. I gotta use the phone. I'm like, but I'm fighting vampires.
Right.
Look, I don't understand what you're saying right now. Get off. I will unplug this IBM. I swear to God.
The game PC is getting unplugged.
But I'm like, but even with that, like in creating characters, and this is one of the things I come up against, like Buffy ain't had no Black friends. You don't really see any Black characters on Buffy. And so
I mean, Joss Whedon, even though, you know, we're mad at him right now and forever from now on, either way, he always said that Cordelia was meant to be a Black girl. He always said that Cordelia was meant to be a Black girl, and that WB or whatever they were at the time wouldn't let him make her a Black girl. That's what he claimed.
That's what he claimed. That's what he claimed.
J.K. Rowling
he
is
had
that.
like 7 seasons to introduce leading. It's not till like season 7 that we got to.
I mean, like, and Kendra dies by a French manicure. I'm still mad. I'm
Man
still
lied like
triggered.
a rug. No
It was
reason
a
to him.
French manicure. Girl, that was a square tip.
And we had Kendra, she killed her after like the 3rd episode.
You know, I'm still mad. About
that man says.
Whenever I think about the fact that Cordelia like was supposed to be a Black girl, I then go back and rewatch and like listen that she gets into and like the way that they treat her, and I'm like, I don't know if I wanted that one either.
I mean, the idea of like the Cordelia kind of trope as this like snobby rich girl being a Black girl for the first time at that era would have been really cute. Even with like even with her dialogue and everything else being like imagine like Bianca Lawson, but doing that.
But like
that's the show.
So with that, because I didn't really see any Black characters on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when I created my character, and even though I based the character off of me, and then I made him a warlock because Willow was one of my favorite characters, because I couldn't see myself in these roles, even though he was completely based off of me, I decided to make that character white. And I don't really have like regrets and stuff like that, but in terms of creatively, that's one of my biggest regrets. This character was me, but I couldn't see myself as a Black character in a world with vampires.
Well, I will say though that like as a creator, you know, when you're creating characters, sometimes the choices you make as far as like their ethnicity or their background is more because of who the character is, and even though like it's still a part of you, sometimes that character just like just isn't that. Does that make sense? Like, it's just like sometimes that character you create, even though like originally you kind of started out with like one idea, that character will evolve into something else. That's not saying that you still aren't a part of that character, or that you can't have someone else come in later who is more visually, representative of you. But like sometimes in writing and in drawing and creating characters, the character kind of becomes its own kind of thing, and you can't control.
I agree partially, but I think that it's impossible to separate racism from the idea of what a character should appear and should be like.
Yeah.
Because
That's a valid
it's not
point.
in a vacuum.
Yeah.
It is
No,
all part
yeah.
of the same thing.
That's
there
valid.
are some white supremacist ideals that have colonized our minds that made us think that, well, if this person is affluent, they can't be black.
Right.
Yeah, I get that, because I went through that same, because I was like,
Mhm.
on the site, I was like, oh, there's not that many black people here, so then I'm gonna be the standard. So you know what? Just to avoid all of that, I'm just gonna make them white, so I don't have to deal with all of that. And
You
like,
sound like one of my editors, Lord Jesus.
yeah, so going back to like thinking about that, like I still think about that to this day, and I'm just like, I regret that, because I'm like, yeah, representation. I'm full about representation. It matters. And like one of the first gay romance type of properties that I saw was in 1999 with Trick. That was the first time I saw gay romance normalized. And so ever since then, I'm just like, I need more of that. Like even when you get to like Wiccan and Hulkling and other representation, like I love those two characters, and that's what really got me into Marvel characters. However, even with that, like you didn't really see their romance, but you got to see the romance between Kate Bishop and Patriot. You got to see the romance between Stature and Vision, or Stature and Iron. Like you got to see the straight romances normalized and the courtship and how they got together. But when it came to Wiccan and Hulkling, it was just like, okay, they're gay together. You never even seen them really interact until like 10 years later. That was when they had their first kiss.
I mean, it's fine that you're gay, but just like I just don't want to see it.
Yeah,
I just don't wanna
exactly.
see
That's
it.
pretty much what it was.
It's like, yeah, I mean, like even their
Voltron!
wedding we got gypped on.
Sorry.
So
Don't
like,
even
even
get
their
me
wedding,
started on
like
Voltron.
just like I'm just like,
I'll swing.
Yeah, don't get me started on
Shiro
Voltron.
today. I
I'll
almost did
swing.
Shiro.
I'll swing.
Woo! It's a journey.
Mr.
All right,
Terrific
so
and
I have two questions that are related, right? So the first, we'll start with the fun first, right? So what's something essential that someone creating a queer comic character should know, right? Something essential that they should, not that they should do, but that they should know.
They should know that they are a whole ass person. Like it's not just like I'm gay and everything about my existence is about being gay. It's like it's part of who you are, but you still navigate life as a whole person. Like
Yeah.
I feel like where a lot of like cishet people get it wrong is like it becomes like on a very special episode of whatever, this person is gay, and like it's this big, like not everything has to be a Love Simon moment. As much as I love that movie, I thought it was very cute. But like not everything has to be that moment where it's like
that's real.
You can breathe now. You can breathe like, now that you've told me this thing that you've been harboring your entire life. You can breathe. It's like we need those stories, we do, but it's not just that. Like
the only
it's
story.
not the only
Yeah.
story. Like it,
Yeah, the arc isn't the coming out story only.
right.
Basically, like there's more to it than just coming
Yeah.
out. You know.
Like show me
And
the
we
mess.
wish you could come out just once
I would say,
and be done with it.
I would say
But,
Right,
just a,
right.
I would say just a small pushback on that. I both agree and disagree with that,
Yeah.
in the sense that, well, the part that I come up against is I feel like people, when it comes to like gay representation or LGBTQ representation, they
Mhm.
only want to focus on the sexual aspect, the romantic aspect
Right.
of that. And it's like, no, being gay is more about sex. And the part that I say disagree with when it says being gay, it's not just about being gay. It's
Yeah.
not our entire identity and representation. But at the same time, being gay does sometimes affect some of the choices that you make, some of the spaces that you choose or choose not to go into.
Oh,
I
Because-
completely
Or are
agree.
excluded
100% agree.
Or
That
are
like
exclu- or are excluded from, or
Yes.
the people that you choose or choose not to be friends with because they're like,
Right.
yeah. So just focus, like,
Need to your ability to be employed, your ability
Yes.
to
yeah,
have a
all
job,
of that.
you know,
Yeah,
like
Mhm.
apartment.
Yeah.
maybe certain politicians that you may or may not support.
I 1000% agree with that, and like that required a little bit more nuance. But yeah, like and so thank you for providing that, because that is so true and so necessary. Because I think where I think cishet people that are in these positions of powers that have the power to let's throw in a character for the gays, like they often forget that, right? They say that the character is gay and their whole personality is about them being gay, but yet none of the decisions that they're making come from lived experience of queer people, to where the decision making that we make is also partially like self-preservation in terms of certain like situations that we decide to go into or not go into. And I don't think that they have that understanding because they don't have that lived experience.
Yeah, I love that. So the flip side of that question is, what are the queer comic character tropes that need to die? Right, the things that we've seen. Look at everybody's face. Everybody gets right.
Let me get the notes out. Let me get the notes.
Okay.
No, because I know everybody gets
Alexa.
one. Everybody gets one trope.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Y'all gotta stop killing all the gay people.
Period.
There's that one.
That's it.
For me, it's definitely the in love with your bully trope. Like, why are you so in love with this neckbeard who's gonna beat you up after lacrosse practice, but then you're gonna want to go into like some like storage closet and like have sex and
because
like
I'm gay.
Or we could just
means
not do
suffering.
that. Like, or we could just like not do that.
Literally other people. There's literally
it's the same thing with like black references. Fall in love with your racist, you're oppressed. Like, no, miss me with that bullshit. Oh, sorry, I don't know if we can curse on
it's like oh, he was just bullying you because he loved you so much, or he was a psycho. Just a thought. I don't know.
For me, since everybody gets one, I would say the constant queer baiting. There's a lot of queer baiting in media.
So just actually be gay and not be lying about it.
Just let it be. Just let it be gay. Like I can name so many ships that it's like y'all are making it, and then like even like Styles and Derek on Teen Wolf. And then even the writer came out. I was like, oh, yeah.
Regina.
Oh, yeah, Regina and Emma Swan. Like, most definitely. Swan Queen.
This is just the heartbreak panel, isn't it?
Or even Bucky and Steve. Like, come on now. Or even the
okay, but
they was gay. I don't want to hear it.
But that's hot, though.
That was all kind of gay happening. You wasn't in them trenches. You don't know.
I don't know if y'all watch Supernatural, Castiel. Like, come on.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah. But that's canon now.
I couldn't do Supernatural.
It's canon on Castiel's side, but Dean never reciprocated. So I'm like, that was
Nah.
I can't. I don't know the show. I tried.
I'm literally watching the chat.
Get out of here with the super whiteies.
Cat scratch.
That was a big thing. That was a big critique in Sex Education. That point you just made, Dax, was a big critique in the season 2 of Sex Education, which I just watched.
Yeah. Which is a great show. Yeah, it's amazing.
But that was the part that I was like,
right. And I was like, of course, it's the black gay kid that is in love with this white fucking bully. I'm like, why? What made it even worse? So I'm sorry that if we're spoiling this for some of you, but it's been out forever. I don't care. I'm gonna spoil it. What sucks is that he was in a relationship with another queer person of color.
Yes.
And left him for the white character. Why? You were in a healthy relationship with someone that was a person of color, and then you left them for this ugly ass white dude. Why?
That's
another trope that needs to die.
Why?
Constantly putting with
Julianne Moore in general looks amazing the entire time. Yeah. So watch it for that, and then just kind of like plug your ears the rest of the time. Like, it's fine.
Look at the GIFs.
I'm like, that's another trope that needs to die. Constantly
putting POC characters
with white characters, and that's to say, nothing against interracial relationships. If you're in an interracial relationship, that's fine. But it seems like the standard in media nowadays is always to have white and somebody else, but it's never like to have a black person with an Asian POC loving each other.
I was just gonna say, here's a thought. Maybe an interracial relationship where the other partner isn't white.
Exactly.
There's not a white person to be seen.
Stop including whiteness in every.
Right. Yeah, like me and my husband. Like my husband is Filipino and Puerto Rican, and I'm black. Like interracial relationships with people that a white person.
That's too controversial. It's too controversial. We have to have.
The girls are ready for that conversation.
That's like 3 whole things. That's so many things.
They're ready.
The thing that I was like, it's like there are never any black queer women, and if they are not dark skinned. So this is the hill that I will die on. They're always like a 4B curl, right?
Not the curl.
Break it down. Away with it. Right. It's always like somebody who's like black but ambiguously black, right? And
And I'm not going to dismantle you by mentioning the one exception, but there's always one. So
Yeah.
Right, and it's
For me,
like,
when I just like,
so frustrating to me as a Black queer woman. Right, I'm always like,
Yeah.
hold up, why? First of all, why she got to be in a relationship with a white woman? Second of all, why she got to be light skinned?
Point blank, period.
Why?
with that
They
like
don't have
good
really
like
dark
wavy
crayons in
wig,
Right.
the good like
It's the wig.
that nice
That's
like
the thing.
the nice
It's
like
the wig.
the big barrel rolls. Just like she's always
Do that
always like
shit out
flipping
your
her hair, just flipping her hair.
Because dark skinned queer
And it's
people
like,
don't exist. That's what
We don't.
that's-
We don't exist.
They don't
We
exist.
apparently don't exist.
Oh my God. All right. Thank y'all for indulging me. Is that so? We have what I'm calling pop culture happy hour. We're gonna go through characters real quick. I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna give me your knee jerk. Okay? Like I love all of you like physically getting ready. Okay? Ready? WandaVision, Billy and Tommy, go.
okay, I do want the grow up episode where Billy comes out finally. I do want that episode. I normally hate coming out episodes, but like in
I
this
want it.
case,
I
really
want
need it in my soul.
Yeah, no, I want it.
Like I just
want it.
need it. Like I normally hate the like. Guess what, you guys? I am gay, and it's like cool. That's a new story arc development we just made up for this one episode. I would, but with him, just because it's him, I physically need it.
Not even just Billy, because I see Blake Donaldson. A lot of people don't realize that Tommy is
Tommy is bi.
So
yeah,
I'm really nervous that Marvel's gonna straight wash him, or just have him with a woman and never mention it at all.
The way I'm ready to fight.
Oh, fully.
The way I'm ready to
expected.
fight.
That is expected. I mean, that is expected. But I mean, like, that's why I love Young Avengers so much, was because it was such a queer book. Like everyone's queer.
Yeah, like Vision can't have straight kids. Like Billy and Tommy are LGBT.
It's Vision. He cannot have straight kids.
Then his daughter Viv, she's looking for
the gays
it's not logical.
It just doesn't make sense, girls. It just doesn't.
Like all right.
But I definitely need Billy. I need to see once Billy and Tommy age up. I need to see the moment when Billy and Hulkling, Billy and when they meet. I need to see the courtship, when they find out each other is gay, they find out each other's attractive, they go on their first date, all that stuff that we never saw in the comics.
I want it.
While fighting monsters.
I want to see their relationship develop, right?
Yes, I want to see. I don't want to.
Totally.
They say,
because we know where it's going. That's cool. But I want to see it. Like I want to see it just evolve and grow and then be awkward and weird for a while. And I want to see all that like uncomfortable tension.
The way that I am like starved. My crops are dying. I want the awkward shit. I want the awkward shit. I want the really awkward parts of the relationship. I want to see it like be weird and goofy. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be squeaky clean and perfect. Give me mess. I want mess.
I want the mess. I want to see.
I'm gonna quote that on Twitter.
Black Lightning is like a lot. Black Lightning is a lot, but I love the way that we got to watch.
Yeah,
this beautiful. Like we got to watch all the kids' relationships. We got to watch everybody's relationship be in mess, like mess.
Yeah.
And I loved it, right? I loved it. Like the queer relationship wasn't like squeaky clean, and we never saw any bullshit. Like I love that it was messy and weird, and like shit was going on. I loved it, and I was like, "Hey, give me more of that."
Right. I want to inject it directly into me. Yes.
Into my veins. All right, ready? Prodigy, go.
Well, he better show up once they introduce X-Men.
That's the first.
He's the only black, gay, male LGBTQ character in Marvel Comics. There's no other. I mean, there's Kyle. Well, superhero. I should specify that because I was gonna say there's Kyle.
Yeah, but who is Kyle? Like who is?
Yeah, I was gonna say Kyle's not a superhero.
like I just show hands. Who knows a black Kyle? I just want to know because
I hate to say it, it's ridiculous.
It's like Mariah Carey.
I have never.
I am sorry to this man.
The only one.
I saw this man in the street.
Like, who even is she? She's always like, I gotta go to work. It's like,
And funny,
Cool. Love your briefcase, Kyle.
and funny enough, Prodigy is dating Tommy. So
Taking me down.
Yeah.
So they better introduce Prodigy, and I better see Tommy and Prodigy date.
All right, you ready? Valkyrie.
Okay, so everybody shut up. She said Valkyrie.
Yes, go, Jay.
All right, so if you were reading Fearless Defenders, Marvel Comics several years ago, Valkyrie started dating an archaeologist named Annabelle, and she was amazing. That was when she was very obviously queer to anyone. There was no denying it. Canon queerness was a thing. Then we get Valkyrie in the movies. Marvel pussied out. We didn't get to have her actually be gay in the movie, but it's okay because they were like, you know what? We're going to keep this going. They decided to make a comic book version of Valkyrie in Exiles, who is who I'm cosplaying, who is canon queer in the comics, who dated the female version of Bucky Barnes, and it was beautiful. So yeah, I really love the fact that Marvel took inspiration from Tessa Thompson's appearance and said that, you know, we're going to actually make this in an ongoing series. And it is over now, but you can still read it. It is still canon. It ain't go nowhere. And we're going to get more of this Valkyrie doing cool stuff. Immortal gays! Yes.
Literally bleeding like, I need gays that live forever.
Yeah.
We do. Not only does she live forever, Bucky also lives forever. Well, I'm sorry, her name is not Bucky. Her name is Nikki Barnes. But Nikki can be reincarnated over and over and over. And I love that after Nikki eventually does die, but it gets reborn, her next girlfriend is Yinsen's daughter from Iron Man. So yeah, that's a whole. She becomes Iron Patriot. There's just so much gayness in these books. People have to know that it exists. So my issue is that it's not promoted enough. Right. We don't get the same coverage as other characters will get. So people are like, wait, Valkyrie Black in the comics too? I'm like, yes. When this was actually being published, I was telling everybody I knew because they were like, but I thought this wasn't gonna happen. Like, no, it did. So there's really no excuse anymore. Like they have proven that representation sells. It sells really well. It makes things extremely popular. Mm-hmm. People are so hungry and so thirsty for it that we'll throw money at them. And especially when it's a character who's being written by a person of color, which this one was, we just want more. Like I saw a question in the Q&A that was saying, is it important to have LGBTQIA writers and artists behind these characters, giving them a voice? I'm like, yes, because then the voice is more authentic. It's less work for me as a consultant to say, hey, if you don't have a Black person writing this, you better hire somebody because you're gonna look a real idiot out here having your Black characters speaking all kinds of mess. If you have someone in the writer's room who is of that background, who has that experience, your work is going to be better. So 100%, it is vital to give writers and actors these voices and not whitewash things.
Right.
We're tired of it.
It's okay.
It's 2021. We're not doing this
literally, it's okay to be like, I don't know how to write this. Let me ask for help.
That's half my rent check right there. People asking for help.
Literally me.
They didn't know about
it. I need help. I need you to read this for me. I need you to check it for me. Yes, I will gladly do that so that you don't get dragged.
Valid. Yeah.
Period. All right. So this is our.
We're gonna have by the hour. I talk a lot. He said, "Get your coins have been gotten."
So we're gonna have our last few minutes. This is the crack session. So give me your queer coded characters, like the people here. Like I seen it. They didn't say it, but I seen it, and I know it's real.
Oh, Storm and Yukio.
Misty Knight and Colleen Wing. Nightwing investigations need to be Nightwing everything. Okay?
For me, it's
He had more chemistry with him than Danny Rand. I don't know what they was doing with that. That should have been Misty and Colleen the whole time. But anyway, sorry.
I said Storm. Girl, it's fine. I said Storm and Yukio.
Yeah, Storm and Yukio.
You do not cut your hair for just a friend. I'm just saying. You don't just be like, you know what? I do need a mohawk right now. Best
Tim
buddy.
Drake and Connor Kent. Yes,
oh no, they are gay.
Tim Drake and Connor
Tim
Kent.
Loved Connor more than anything.
Emma Swan and Regina.
I will die on that hill.
Steve and Bucky, how much time? Merlin and Arthur and the Merlin series, come on now.
Listen, first of all, everybody go watch Merlin.
Yes, go watch
the worst
Merlin.
ending ever. But literally,
don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Don't watch it. But if you're I need some homoerotic, funny, that's light. Go watch that shit because it's just Merlin is clearly
they
so
did
in love
Guinevere
with
dirty
Arthur.
though. I can't do that no more.
Yeah, all right. I have a lot of feelings about Merlin, and no one ever wants to talk to me about it because it's hella long.
Oh, we can
do a Merlin panel. We can do it.
I tried Merlin, but I'm just not a fantasy girl, so I can't get into
So if you're
wizards,
and want to do Arthurian legends and Black people, there's a really great book called Legendborn. Totally
Hold up,
listen
wait
to
a
it
minute,
because
wait a
Oh, yeah, he got up. He's like, let me go get the
I
notebook.
just wanna
Hold
be
on.
like, right here.
Oh no.
yeah.
Oh, all right. Yes, that cover is gorgeous.
Excellent book. It's for people who are like, I want to think about Arthur, but I don't want to think about only white people in Arthurian legends. So that's my plug for a cute Black girl in an Arthurian legend they're talking about ancestral magic. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
All right, so that concludes our pop culture happy hour. Thanks for coming. I want to go into the Q&A. We might go back to pop culture happy hour because it's fun.
It's fun.
So, all right. So the question that actually has been, if you have questions, audience, all 38 of you, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. Audience members who don't have questions, if you see a question you want to see answered, go into the Q&A and upvote it so that it'll come to the top for me. So right now, the top voted question, how do we feel about characters with names like Snowflake and Safe Place that are really on the nose?
We don't feel good about it.
What do you think?
I wasn't
feel
a
good
fan.
about it.
I don't know them.
Yeah,
I don't
know her.
I don't
Is
feature
she
them.
canon? I think she's not even canon.
No.
Ooh,
No.
she's not even
I mean,
canon.
it was.
No, I think
it was,
they were, but I think they got scrapped because of
The thing.
That's going on the shelf next to those Japanese books written by the Japanese writer that totally isn't some guy who already works at Marvel. That's where those are. They're over there.
I mean, it's just like them trying to do something like inclusive, but like still color coding the characters into like gendered binaries. It's like
Stupid.
we could have tried a little harder.
And I think the sad
Literally
reality
could have done. Different choices could have been made.
I think the sad reality of the fact is that the people that created those two characters are actually queer writers and artists. So even that, like going back to you want to have queer people writing queer.
Mhm.
Sometimes it doesn't even work. Like even
Sometimes
think about
it's not-
are
Wonder
those
Woman.
people
Like
cis?
Patty Jenkins
Or
wrote.
Yeah,
are they cis?
but also it felt like even though it was like
No.
a queer creative team behind it, they were still pandering to be something that was going to be like a buzzword or like a hot topic to their straight audience, their straight editors, especially. So like they had to like pitch something that was going to be like buzzy and like kicky, but then dumb it down to make it palatable.
Wasn't the whole point that the characters were non-binary, but they're written by cis?
Exactly, that was the whole point.
That was literally going to be my point.
Yeah.
I was like, first of all,
that's why they messed it up.
those that like needed to bring in non-binary folks to either be a part of the creative process or to be a part of the editing process. Because what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks all for validating my feelings. Dax, this one is for you. What do you think of Catwoman's portrayal in the Harley Quinn animated series?
I love it because was it based on me directly? Because I feel like it was. I mean, like this is one of my oldest costumes. I think I first made this costume in 2013. And I've just modified and upgraded parts ever since. Whenever like something breaks or tears, I'm like, nope, gotta fix that and make a new one. I've been wearing it since then. And then like I'm watching the Harley Quinn animated series, and like literally, I walk onto my own screen. So you can't tell me it wasn't me. So I'm fully here for it. But I love a Black Selena Kyle. I always have. I mean, I love Selena Kyle in all forms. I love her the most currently in Superhero Girls on on Cartoon Network. Now it's on Netflix. I highly recommend watching it. Voiced by Miss Cree Summer. Black Selena Kyle.
Queen.
Fucking love it. Love it. Can't live without it. I love it. I need it. So.
Yeah, perfect. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that for you and also for the rest of us. So, question from Shay: what about reading? Can't afford to buy new copies.
Libraries
will be your best friend. As someone that has done published graphic novels, and like the libraries, like the school library journal and just like the Library Association of America is super into graphic novels, like manga, like all that stuff. So definitely utilize your local libraries for getting a hold of comics, because they do have a very comprehensive library of comics and graphic novels. So utilize them. They are great resources, and they will likely get all the things that you want. That
you can request things. You can tell them, hey, I want this book, and they will get it for you. It's so good.
They will spend the money for you. So
They will.
you
They
don't have
literally
to
will.
do it.
I was gonna say also, if you
It's
want,
wonderful.
instead of having to go to the comic book store every single week to buy new issues, because that adds up, and you're trying to read stuff, like that's
I
way
ain't got
too
nowhere to put
expensive.
them.
And then you don't have anywhere to put the space racks up. If you want, like, because everybody for the most part has a Netflix account. There's also, if you're more of a Marvel fan, there's also what's called the Marvel Unlimited app, which is basically Netflix for Marvel Comics, and you pay you pay like $9.99 a month, and you basically get access to Marvel's entire catalog. Anything new that comes out, you don't get access to until 3 months later. But if you're playing catch up and things, there's so much to read. Yeah. So you're playing catch up and you're reading things. So you could either do that.
DC has it too.
DC has one too. And then if you want to read like Image and other indie Boom Studios, there's also Comixology Unlimited as well.
And if you have Amazon Prime, it comes with free comics. You just gotta go read.
Yes, Amazon Prime. That's what I was gonna say.
Amazon Prime. They partner with Comixology.
I had no idea.
Comixology because
Yo, we got 5 minutes. Y'all want to like promote stuff?
Right. I'm like, so
we do.
I want to give 15. Everybody a second. I want to give everybody.
Oh, maybe I read wrong.
No, you're fine. I want to talk there are a couple more quick questions in the chat that I want to get to. We talked about this a little bit, but I want to come back to it because folks are asking about it. Like, how do we push more Black queer characters in being in relationship, be those relationships platonic or romantic, with other Black queer characters? How do we make that a thing?
I think Jay mentioned this towards the beginning of the conversation. Like, I think we're still all processing and dismantling our own kind of like white supremacist like values that have been ingrained in us since we were born. So like, well, we might not be doing it intentionally, but like we're still doing it. We're still like, oh, there's no way that we would see two like Black queer characters together. Like, I've even had to dismantle that myself with writing my own stuff. Like, I'm working on a queer story right now, and it's like I thought about my own personal friend group. I'm like, in my closest friend group, I don't have a white friend in that group. All of my friend group is all queer POC. So why shouldn't my own work reflect my own personal lived experience? So I just kind of made it a point to not center whiteness in the content that I am putting out into the world. So I think being deliberate and making a proactive choice in doing so, if you are on the creator side of things, is by actually doing it and committing to it. From like the consumer standpoint, it's just putting your money where your mouth is and voting with your wallet. And when you see things like that, like in media, like buy it up, hype it up, talk about it, and demand more. Like, keep requesting more, because at the end of the day, they're worried about their bottom line, and money talks. So if they see that they're getting lots of coin from a story that is done by like a Black writer, a Black artist, and it's about Black people, and especially queer Black people, we're gonna buy it. Like, I know that I'm gonna buy it, just like straight, like no matter what, I'm gonna buy it. Like, because I'm #rooting for everybody Black. So like, I'm going to buy it. So that's the kind of how I think I would at least forever.
Real fast, can I address what someone said in the chat?
Please.
People say, why do they have to date just because they're Black? And I'm like, think of why you're saying that. You would never say, oh, they're just dating because they're white. This is because Black people are marginalized. Exactly. So in your mind, you're seeing them as other, and you're seeing them as like, oh, it's just an excuse to put them together because they're the only ones. Why are they the only ones? Why are they the tokens? That's why you're having that mindset of why people say that kind of stuff. And the solution for that is to have more POC characters and not just white characters, and also a well-written relationship that shows that they have chemistry and that they flow well together. And it's not
exactly.
Period.
That's one of my biggest issues with the Black Panther and Storm relationship. Like,
they did not work together to me. They didn't work together at all. They didn't work. He couldn't handle it.
Yeah, that's like one of my biggest issues with it. Like, they just put them together, but there was no build up. There was no. It was just like, okay.
Oh, but we did that miniseries.
But even that, it was like, but that was your past.
We pretended that's not your present.
I have a lot of feelings on this discussion right now.
Yeah, I could go on about that, but yeah.
We're gonna have another panel after this one. Oh, we can keep going? Okay, thank you, Shakima. Thank you. We did not know because we got told we had to be quiet. But we didn't listen.
We didn't. My dad. So I wanna. Yes, we actually are gonna do this in our last 5 minutes. A fan casting for your favorite like characters. right? So it could be anything. It could be bingo love. It could be
Louis Tan for Iron Fist.
I'm
We
hearing
gotta
you. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you right
Tan
now.
is Louis.
And yes,
Louis Tan is bae.
Or
I need to see him with more
just
shirtless scenes.
Louis Tan anywhere you want to put him. I want
Yeah.
Namor. I
I'm
want Iron
definitely
Fist.
over
I don't give a fuck. Just take a shirt off for a while and put him in the water.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
care.
I don't care.
Put him on
Just
camera.
Man,
Pop the top off. Put him on
Superhero.
camera.
He's so
I'm good. I'm real good here. I can watch this all day. Like,
stress.
Mortal Kombat. As long as he has a lot of shirtless scenes, fighting, I'm
Listen,
here for it.
no,
Mortal
not
Kombat.
that. Not that.
wrong.
Every
Oh,
single
he
scene
was wrong.
don't need a shirt. That's what we got to do here. This is what we got to fight
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Does voting work for this? Can I
Keep the
vote for
dragon
this?
on.
Like, I don't
Keep the
know.
I would like to nominate. Yeah, it could be. I'm trying to think of like things that I've read. I actually have a lot of feelings. I don't actually know why the last man is in terms of it got picked up and then it wasn't and blah.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
They're just taking their time.
But
I think they're trying to have less cast people get COVID, so they're gonna wait as long as they can before they start filming.
that part. I think I have
fair.
spent so long thinking about who should play Agent 355. Like literally, I've been thinking about this since I read the book when I was like 20. And I still don't know. I legitimately still don't know who should. If you guys haven't read Why the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan and Peter Guerra and a bunch of like amazing people, before there was Saga, there was Why the Last Man. And I legitimately do not know who should play Agent 355.
There's so many good actresses though.
It's hard.
But at least we know one thing. Whenever a Black woman gets cast as a lead role in anything, you know that she's going to be excellent because we don't have room to fill. There are no crappy, like, dark-skinned Black actors. We are all excellent. Because
what other choice?
Yeah.
What's the option?
There's no other choice.
There's no choice.
There's no other choice.
It's true. That,
No.
yeah, and like Saga is another one. People keep saying someone's picked it up, but I don't know where it's at either.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
I mean,
no, mediocrity is a white
I will use my time to advocate for Yetide Badaki as Storm.
Yes!
That is my vote.
Oh
I want to make that official. Just want to make that clear because like her as Bilquist and American Gods in general, just like every time she like walks the screen, I'm like, yep, there she is.
See, I was gonna
Storm.
say Anna
That's
Diop as Storm.
Okay, but I mean, first of all, she already got Starfire, just doing well at Starfire, and also,
like, come on, give it.
I would love her.
But no, I'm here. But no, I didn't
think-
say that to like step. No, I'm here for it too. But that's
No. Honestly, I'd be happy either way. But my vote is Yetide Badaki, like always. Like I've been a fan of hers since I first saw her face. I'm like, you are the one. This is it. We're done here. Like,
she's just so statuesque.
she's
just
perfection, and it hurts to look at.
It literally hurts. Like talking to her, I'm always flustered because I'm like,
Wait. You know her?
I've met her at like fun things, like comic things.
Yeah, and she's super
Casually, and she's lovely. But I always like stumble because she's physically amazing and beautiful, and I'm like, don't fuck it up, Ishoke. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Let me just wipe the drool.
Yeah. Oh, her face. I just can't get over it. It's just.
All right, kids.
This is a really good
in
fucking
our last
thing.
minute, right. In our last minute, please tell us where we can find you on the internet so people can keep yelling at you with their thoughts. Michael, you can go first because you're the first person up, I think, now.
Real quick, you can find me anywhere on the internet, Black Gay Comic Geek. I do have a YouTube channel where I mostly review movies, TV shows, video games, mostly within the fantasy, sci-fi, horror genre. I also recently just started doing TikTok videos, again, Black Gay Comic Geek, where I talk about these comic book characters from Storm, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch. Anybody that's in comics, I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to release a video in collusion with Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's that collusion with Falcon and Winter Soldier, talking about the first Black Captain America, Isaiah Bradley. So that'll come out around that time. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And then yeah, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. So yeah, Black Gay Comic Geek.
I'm here for it. DJ.
You can find me on everything: Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OheyDJ. Oh my God, my voice. You can find me everywhere on all those things. Yeah, I have a TikTok account and I just like talk about whatever I want. I don't really have like a thing, but yeah, I just chaotic on there. But yeah, and then you can also buy my graphic novel, The Black Mage, if you want to read a book about a Black kid, that the only Black kid that's at a PWI that actually ends up blowing up the PWI. You can get it on onipress.com.
My man, nothing wrong.
You can get it on onipress.com. The link is in the chat, but that's where you can support me and all my stuff.
Perfect. Dax?
I can be found anywhere at Dax Exclamation. That's DAXCLAMATION. Twitch, I can be found at symbol the Dax Exclamation. Yeah, I don't Twitch much. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to get into that a lot harder. So follow me, and then I'll do more of it. Thanks.
Yeah, and Jay.
All right, I'm at that JayJustice on all the things. Website is jayjustice.net. You can also find me streaming at Twitch, that JayJustice. I stream on Tuesdays with Demanda Martini. Our show is called Rusty Gay Ass Art because that's what we'd be doing. And then I also stream cosplay builds. I'm working on some cool armor from various video games and comic books, also on Twitch. And then what was the other thing? I don't even remember. I've been doing too much stuff, y'all. If you like Mass Effect video games, I'm actually one of the council members for the Legendary Edition. So please check out the game when it comes out on May 14th.
Period. Period. Talk your shit, Jay. Yeah.
I'm getting that game. I'm getting that game.
Yes, I was already gonna buy it, but I'm definitely gonna buy it now.
See you on the Citadel, Commander.
Period.
Yeah, I need you to sign my copy.
Right. I was like, I'm gonna have to get my stuff signed now. Wow. Thank you all for joining us. You can find me on the internet at Is She Okay? I also host a podcast called Cheers and Queers, where we drink things and talk shit, mostly about nerdy stuff. So definitely subscribe. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm gonna go watch the sunset on a roof. You guys,
I can't stand you. I can't stand you.
I'm gonna go drink a Mai Tai on the sunset on the roof. I mean, I don't know about you girls, but that's what I'm doing.
I mean, like, you guys are welcome to come and
She
like
tried
report out.
It's okay, you tried it. You tried it.
I mean, like, I don't know where you're located, but if you're in Puerto Rico right now, you're okay.
Happy birthday!
Meanwhile, here in Jersey, it's supposed to snow again tomorrow.
You in the sun chilling anyway.
thanks, friend.
We love you, Sophie. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I did try it. Oh, you're not wrong. All right, thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you.
This was so fun.
Bye.
I love y'all.
Wakanda forever.
Cat sound.